of the main reasons people are drawn to Salida and ultimately decide to stay is the strong sense of community. Salida has long been known as a wonderful place to raise a family, and in recent years, more families have chosen to make this community their home. Much of that reputation is built on the people who invest their time and energy into supporting local youth, athletics, and community connection. With me today is a community member doing just that, Kenny Wilcox. He's a dedicated leader and longtime advocate for youth and community development in Salida. Kenny has served as the Salida High School cross-country coach since 2006, leading both the boys and girls teams to multiple state championship titles and earning 3A Coach of the Year honors several times throughout his career. In addition to coaching, Kenny serves as the coordinator for the Family Youth Initiative, or FYI, Adult to Youth Mentoring Program, where he continues to make a meaningful impact on young people in the community. He's also the father of 4 boys, all raised here in Salida, and is deeply rooted in the local running community beyond high school athletics. Kenny and his family are well known for their impressive performances and consistent presence in the local running scene. And if you've read the Mountain Mail, our community newspaper, chances are you've seen the Wilcox family name recognized for outstanding race results and athletic achievements. Thanks for being here, Kenny.
Thanks, Monica. Super excited to be on the Living in Salida podcast.
Thank you. I know. I was kind of telling somebody, why didn't I invite you sooner?
No, this was the time.
The guy. Yeah.
Today was
timing.
the day.
Today's the day. Well, yeah, and I'm curious because I know you personally, but some of this stuff I don't know. Like, tell us how you ended up in Salida. Is 2006 the right timeline?
Well, I actually got here a little sooner than
okay,
that.
but that's the correct timeline for
when I started coaching.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell us how you got here.
This I'll try to make it somewhat succinct on that piece, but I was in college back in Iowa. I went to a small D3 school called Wartburg College.
Okay.
Not many people probably know it. Waverly, Iowa. Pretty small school, about 2,000 people. And one of my friends was like, hey, we should apply for these camp counselor jobs this summer. And I wasn't really in a space in my life at that point where I was super excited about that. It's like, I'll probably just go home, work construction again, as I'd done. But for some reason, I applied for this job. The director later told me it was like the worst interview he had ever had, but he still hired me anyway. Which I was like, okay, well, thanks for, at least having a...
Why was it, not to interrupt you, but why was it so bad?
I think I probably just showed up really not caring to get the job too much. I don't think I said anything totally off color or anything, but good clarification. I mean, I thinking back on it, I'd love to hear that interview and what I was saying, but I probably just was kind of coming into it halfway interested and invested. Long story short, my friend Chris, he ends up not coming out at all to the camp. And I'm like, oh, cool, thanks, Chris.
The guy that convinced you to do it? Okay.
Exactly. And so now here I am driving 1,000 miles across, Iowa, Nebraska, chunk of Colorado to get to, it's called Rainbow Trail Lutheran Camp. And it's in the Sangre de Cristo mountain range, which is 45 minutes roughly from where we are today. Okay. And so I was a camp counselor, and we would climb mountains, we'd go rafting on the Arkansas River, hanging out with mostly a lot of middle schoolers, sometimes some younger, sometimes some older kids, but just loved seeing the impact of hanging out with some of these kids for just a week and how much change you would see in them during that time. So I switched my major from, I was previously heading to be a veterinarian was my direction, and then I switched all that up. But even more kind of backing up on that is when we were at camp, we would have 24 hours off, Saturday noon to Sunday noon. And our group would come to Salida or Canyon City, Breckenridge, some of the close places by. Even though we're tired from our week, we're college age kids, we're like, we want to go do stuff.
Of course,
we're in Colorado, right? So, one of my early memories, and I share this, mostly because I'm curious who else out there was at that concert, but one of our staff let us know that Jefferson Starship was going to be playing in Salida. Okay. Down at there wasn't the amphitheater that we know today in Riverside Park, but so we 60 of our staff or so show up in Salida, listen to Jefferson Starship, and had an amazing time in Salida here, listening to We Built This City and Sarah and all those other great great songs that they have. But then I go back to Iowa and I'm thinking, like, how do I get back out to Colorado?
Okay.
Because Colorado just had captured my heart,
Yeah.
and knew Salida, and eventually applied for a job. And interestingly enough, my wife, Sarah, she got a job out here before I did, technically. And so as a teacher here in the school district.
Oh, okay. And so it was like, okay, we're going.
Yeah, right.
So had she already been here then, or did you just sell it?
Yeah. She was pretty easy to sell on the idea.
Okay.
She had come out and visited me at the camp that I worked at, and she was worked in their kitchen for a week, and they would let some people come out like that. So I think she was definitely game for it, and we were pretty young then, and so we weren't we didn't have any big roots down where we were at. We're freshly married.
Yeah.
Didn't have a house. We're renting in Cedar Falls, Iowa, and August 1st, 2002 is when we drove over Kenosha Pass with the U-Haul and
nice
made it here. So.
That's amazing. So you've been in Salida for a while. So you can, I think you're allowed to call yourself a local. I was talking to somebody about this. I think it was determined it was either 15 or 20 years. I think the goalpost keeps getting further away.
Sure.
But you're
depending who you're talking to.
Depending on who you talk to, that's a good solid. You definitely have solid roots. So
I'd like to think we're locals now.
Yeah.
Maybe just, but
yeah, I know you're good. You're definitely a good representation of the town here, and you've seen it grow quite a bit. So so you got here in 2002, and then so tell me a little bit about. We can talk about high school and cross country first, because I know you wear a few hats here, so we can start there.
I like to wear hats, for sure. Yeah, 2000. So before I came out, my wife and I we had coached at our alma mater, and she actually coached there for 2 years. I'm younger than she is, so not by much. She doesn't actually love it when I talk about that. We're 5 months apart.
We'll be come
yeah, that's it. And so she's always a little too excited for my birthday when we're the same age again.
That's funny.
But she had coached for 2 years at Wartburg. I got a year in before we moved out here, and then it took us a few years until an opportunity opened up for us to jump in on the coaching scene. And I actually started as my wife's assistant at the middle school.
Okay.
And so she was working in the she was working in the school system, so she kind of was already there and in, and then that was kind of my way through. And I was her dollar coach, is what they called them at that time, which just meant you're an assistant.
Okay.
Never got the dollar. Still waiting for it. I'm hoping it's accruing interest, but we do that for a year and had a great experience. And then the high school position opened up the next year. And so in 2006 is when I started at Salida High School as a cross-country coach.
Okay. And so from what I have gleaned just from personally knowing you and talking to other people in the program, you've grown it quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
So,
those early years were super special. It was that first year of coaching high school, we had 6 girls and 4 boys.
Okay.
And so most of the time, and for those of you that maybe don't know cross country, you, at least at that time, you needed a minimum of 4 to score. And so for our boys team, we hardly ever scored that first year. And mostly because, somebody was either out sick or missing for ACTs or whatever it might be when you only have 4.
Yeah, that's tough.
It was a little difficult. And so I think we scored at one race the whole year. But it was honestly a great place to start. Expectations were pretty, minimal. But you got to know the kids so well. And that was, to me, was by far the best part. And a lot of those kids built the backbone for what we do, and just some of the traditions that we still do today.
Okay. So what are some of those traditions?
Yeah, so probably a lot of people, if you've been in the area for a while, you would probably know the Love family. They own and operate Western Recreation in Poncha Springs.
Okay.
Yeah, so Brad and Sandy Love, they had a cabin in the family off Kenosha Pass at the time, and we would go and do our team camp at their cabin.
Oh, okay.
Because we could all fit. I mean, the cabin wasn't that big at the time, but with like 10 of us, you could fit reasonably well, and great lake there, and we had some fun traditions that started there in terms of like wading through the beaver pond on one of our runs, so some of those things just kind of happened naturally with where we had this free camp.
That's cool, because I know one thing, you're really good at creating that culture behind, it's not just a sport, but it's a team and a culture, and by doing those types of things, right?
Yeah, when we do our team camps, which we still do to this day, some people might think, oh, it's a running camp, so they must be running all the time. Where the reality for us is that's probably like 2% of our weekend. We have a spoons tournament and a skit and talent show, and all these other things that go into the weekend that have nothing to do with like actually running.
And then so how many people, so here we are 20 years later, congratulations on 20 years as a cross country coach.
It's crazy, yeah.
So it's grown quite a bit. So how many kids do you have this season?
So this past fall we had 46 kids out total.
Okay.
Which again, when you think of Salida High School size, it's right around 400 students, freshman through senior. So like to have a little more than 10% of the population is like, that's pretty good,
That is good, yeah.
But again, like having done this long enough, like like you just ride those waves. Like sometimes the teams are smaller, sometimes they're bigger. For me, I don't know if I've landed exactly on that magic size, what that might be, but the bigger thing is like if the kids are bought in and are fully there, it makes it so much more fun. So, but yeah, last year our girls team, it was our biggest team in school history, and our girls team was the biggest in all of the 3A division. So that was pretty cool. I don't know, we had a big group of seniors, so we'll probably be a little smaller this next year, but it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And then so I guess talk a little bit about, your experience with high school kids and just kind of so is it for anybody who's listening who is thinking of moving here with kids, or is here and wants to make sure it's a good place for their kids to grow up into the high school, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, so now that we have two kids that are out of the nest, as they say, and off and doing their things. One of our oldest is getting ready to graduate here in May, and so I would say for those two, just watching them and their journey post Salida High School, I feel like Salida really set them up incredibly well. Like they've been able to go and pursue the things they wanted to pursue, and really never felt like they were held back because of their education or whatever experiences. If anything, Salida really prepared them well. One of the things we joke about, all of our boys are involved with like the local Boy Scout troop.
Okay.
And for Elijah, who's our oldest son, he was under the tutelage of Brian Pettit. And Brian just got them out on all these camping adventures and outdoor experiences, which Salida area is really good to offer those things. But then Elijah goes to the Air Force Academy, and sometimes they're doing some of these outdoor activities, and one of the common comments was, "What, were you born in the wilderness?" was kind of the thought to him, and he wasn't born in the wilderness, but he had a lot of really great experiences. So that, and then even I was just talking to Zeke, our next oldest son, and just talking about chemistry and things like that. And I was like, well, how do you feel like your high school experiences set you up for that? And he said really well. Like as he's in his first year of college and hitting some of those classes, he feels like he was really well set up.
Prepared well. Yeah, and I know, so you've got, in case anybody missed it, the intro, you've got 4 boys, and they're almost exactly 4 years apart, right? Oh.
It's like 2.5 to 3, pretty much for all of them.
Okay, yeah. So they're kind of spaced out pretty well.
Yeah.
So you've got one about to graduate from college that was set up really well, one that just graduated from high school here last year, and 2 more kind of going through. So you've seen the whole progression.
For sure. Yeah. Another thing, even just to add to that too, if people are thinking about, is this a great place to move to? The Colorado Mountain College campus has really, even since our oldest went through to now, has just continued to offer more classes.
Yeah.
So Zeke, who graduated just last year from Salida High School, he was one class away from his associates when he left here. And
oh, wow.
that was, concurrent enrollment. And so, if he had wanted to, he could have found a way to get that associates in. It wasn't a huge deal for him to have that. And then all those classes transferred for him at Gonzaga. So
that's amazing.
Pretty great stuff.
That's huge for kids.
Yeah, and the campus is right next door to the high school.
Yeah, it's great exposure. So I feel like, because a lot of people wonder, it's a small town, that's clearly it can't be as good as schools in the city or whatever.
Right.
But we do have really good schools here.
We do, and the likelihood is, you're gonna know the teachers from the community, and so I think there's a benefit to that as well.
Absolutely. And then, so we can't go without talking about the FYI program. So tell me about that and mentorship, and that's another way you contribute to the community, and that also reflects well upon our community.
Yeah,
that shows how wonderful our community is.
Yeah, that was one of those, again, just an opportunity that I feel really just blessed to have had the opportunity to jump into, and started that with FYI, Family Youth Initiatives, 12 years ago.
Okay.
And I jumped in with the Chaffee County Mentors program. So some people out there are probably familiar with Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Yeah.
And we're modeled after that. And so we work with young people ages 7 to 18 and a little bit older in some cases. And that, for whatever reason, they could just use a little extra support in their life. And so what I continue to just be blown away by is just the adults in our community in Chaffee County here that continue to step up and say, I want to volunteer. I had a mentor in my life. I want a chance to be that person in somebody else's life.
Wow. So how many mentor-mentee combos do you have right now?
Yeah. So right now we have a little over 30 matches.
Okay.
And throughout a year, over these last few years, during the course of the year, there's about 40 matches that we'll have. And we would love to always do more. And I would say, there's enough kids on our wait list that we could certainly do more. But it's just myself, and then I have another teammate who is with the mentor program. Well, he's with the mentor program fully, but he also runs an after-school program that's you have middle schoolers mentoring preschool students, which is pretty cool.
That is
So
cool.
I get him about half the time, a little more in the summer when school's not going on, but our capacity is probably around that 40 mark for matches.
So does that mean you need more mentors? You need more volunteers?
Always need more mentors.
So if you're listening, so who would be a good fit for a mentor?
Like anybody. Well, I shouldn't say anybody. If you don't like kids, probably
perhaps not. Yeah.
Maybe not your space, but you don't really have to have amazing skills or qualifications or
accolades, right?
Yeah, you don't need all these certifications or this or that. Really just a desire to invest into somebody else's life. And if you don't even need to have that much extra time. Just do the things that you're already doing. If it's mountain biking or you love fishing or whatever it might be, we just encourage you to bring your mentee right along with you. And now you've got a fishing buddy and a mountain biking buddy. And,
that's cool.
Yeah, right.
And then just you're spending time with them, wasn't it a few hours a week or so?
Yeah, that's the goal, a couple hours a week. And we know, again, where we live, there's some people that they might go down to Mexico for a couple months in the winter. And we'll probably be able to work with you in that. If you were gone more than, a lot longer than time than that.
Months, yeah.
Then it might not work that way, but you could also come in as like an adventure buddy. And when you are here, you could, just jump in on those activities when you could. So,
that's cool. Yeah, it seems pretty valuable. So do you get a lot of people who are active retirees, or just all different ages for mentors?
Yeah. I mean, you would think it'd be just like all retirees, and we do have a fair number of retirees that are involved, but lately we've had a really awesome trend of some younger people jumping in that are like 20s, 30s,
cool.
which is kind of amazing to me when I think about that, because I think about myself in my 20s. I wasn't really thinking about. I was thinking about myself, like probably way too much, and so it's been really just like energizing and refreshing to have like some of these younger people that are identifying this from an early age, and like they're not wasting time, right? They're just getting right after being involved in their community, which I think is incredible.
Yeah, so I know when I talk to people, they ask, how do you get to know people and get integrated into the community when you move here? And it seems like that would be a really good way, and you're directly giving back to somebody that needs it.
For sure, yeah. Like if you're looking for something like satisfying and fulfilling, certainly a way. And again, because we'll do group activities once a month, and so I'll get to hang out with these bigger groups of mentors and their mentees that they're mentoring, and like you almost 100% always walk out of those just feeling like extra energized and like inspired by what they're doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm gonna see if I can find where I wrote it down. I was reading your bio, and you mentioned that you had a high school friend that told you you were going to be a coach one day. And so I'm curious, why do you think he said that? What about you? Predict this for your life.
Yeah, I should probably call my friend up, Isaac Drew, and ask him. But so I grew up on an Angus cattle farm in Iowa, and so we were out, and like Isaac and I, we were just doing like some summer training, getting ready for our upcoming senior season of cross country, and running some hills, like some short hills by my house. And I don't know, I'm not, I should still ask him what it exactly was, but I'd like to think it was just an encouraging piece that I was bringing to him in that moment. Maybe just, I really don't know. I should ask him, but I do remember, I think for a lot of us, it's really important to like take notice of the things that kind of come naturally or easy for us. From a pretty young age, I was able to connect well with just some of the younger people in my life, and could see them not maybe for who they were in that moment, but maybe who they were going to become down the road. And so I think too often, we have like a very short-sighted view of if we can't see it with our own eyes. It's like, you're walking into a property and sometimes you've got to have that really good vision for what this house could become.
The potential of something, yeah.
Yes, and I think I don't have that so much with homes. My wife's much better at that, but I think I maybe have that skill or that vision for people.
Yeah, no, that's incredibly valuable. And then, but it's not just having the vision, but it's also being the person to encourage them to come into that.
Like speaking that into their life and like pointing out the things that you see in them is tremendously valuable.
Yeah, no, I think that's amazing. It's so valuable for the youth in our community and the world at large.
For sure.
So one thing I also mentioned is we haven't touched on yet is the race scene. So you're not just the cross country coach. I see you running around our town all the time, but you're also running organized races and there's so many small town races in Salida, which is a cool part of our town.
Right.
So could you tell us a little bit about whatever you want to add about that, what you're going to run soon, what you've liked?
Sure. I did just get a run. This is pretty fresh. So ran the Eugene Half Marathon. This past weekend, actually. Elijah was running the marathon there, and then Zeke had bought me a half marathon entrance at Christmas time. So the two of us actually ran the majority of the race together. this past Sunday, which was awesome. And it ended, for those of you that are like big track fans, it ended in Hayward Field, which is where, like in the recent years, most of the Division I track championships, NCAA championships have been held, or Olympic trials track has been held. So incredible facility. You only got to run 200 meters in there, but it was worth it.
You did it. So.
We did it. Super fun. Obviously, training here at high altitude and then being able to drop down to low altitude is always a fun, big bump, right? So yeah, that was the most recent one. Still trying to figure out what's next. If anything, kind of as a race director, my focus is going to shift towards putting on the National High School Trail Championships this summer. Okay. So it'll be our 10th anniversary of that, which so it's not. There's the National High School Trail Championships race for both the girls and boys at the end of, it's that last Saturday in July, which I'm trying to remember what that date is, but it's that last Saturday in July.
Okay.
And then we also have a citizens race here locally that supports the Brett Beasley Memorial Scholarship. Mm-hmm. So that's also held on that same weekend, same day, and it's about just a little less than 5.5 miles. So I think most people in Salida or in the surrounding areas can handle that distance without any trouble.
Sure, yeah, and it's not super competitive, right? That one, the citizens, or am I wrong? Is it?
You might think that, but like, there's always people that show up.
Sure, we've got professional runners in our town.
We do.
It's hard sometimes.
We do, and even like some of the collegians from over at Adams State or Western State will, venture over. Across the pass and jump in. So, yeah, I mean, the citizens race is nice because you'll get a little bit of everything on that one.
Sure, yeah. But I just feel like, you guys, because there's the New Year's Day 5K. Didn't you guys run that this past year? And
we did.
Win? Did you win?
Well, Elijah won.
Elijah won. Okay.
Yes.
So like I said, I mean, there's always a Wilcox that's on the race docket, because in our small town newspaper they do list like the winners often and sometimes their times, and so I see you guys in there all
Gotta
the time.
love the small town local newspaper, and
totally.
Our media outlets are so good at that. And that to me also brings up another quick point. I don't know if we were going to go this direction, but because it's impacted me, I think, in my coaching career and just other things in my line of work. But I had a guy that ran the Makokata Sentinel Press back in Iowa, who wrote all the sports stories, and his name was Jack Marlowe. And Jack was one of those guys, if you got your name in one of his articles, it was like absolute gold. And so, and because he would point out things other than just like who the top finisher was, or he just noted those things maybe not everybody else would see, kind of behind the scenes type of stuff. And to me, that's kind of how I've tried to emulate that thing. That's a similar thing with coaching cross country and the athletes that we work with, because sometimes it's the kid who's they just improved a ton, or their effort was like pretty evident or on display that day. And so, being able to see those other things is really important.
Yeah, and then actually that reminds me, I know you do like a really big banquet for the cross country team, and you are acknowledging kids for various reasons, not just the one with the fastest time that year or the most wins, but just improvement and all sorts of other things.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've been at some of those banquets.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yes. So
they're long. The banquets, I get in trouble for how long those last, but
But it's just like it was so heartwarming because everybody's so enthusiastic and being recognized. So like when I go back to creating the culture, there is such a strong culture there, and everybody's supporting one another and recognizing each other, which is valuable too.
Yeah. I've always been a big believer that you get what you celebrate, and so you actually have to celebrate those things. Like if you can't just say, oh, we value this and that, but not do anything about it, then I think those are pretty empty words.
Yeah, I love that. Well, any parting words for anybody who is thinking of moving to Salida or has moved here and wanting to get integrated into the community? somebody who's been here so long.
Yeah, I know. Again, like a lot of places will talk about just how great the community is, this or that. But again, like Salida's shown up in so many ways throughout the years. I could give so many different examples, but if it's someone, a family that's struggling with something or walking through just a difficult time, or, I even remember a few years ago when we don't have a movie theater yet. Hopefully that'll change soon.
It's on the way, but it might be a minute. Yeah.
But I remember even on that case, they were going to digital, and people love their community and love their movies, and so they like the money just came pouring in, so like they got it digital for that time period, and so just tons of examples like that where even with the mentoring program, as I mentioned earlier, just the people that are here, like they back up what they say they're about and back up the community aspect of truly being involved and engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that there is something magical about our community, I think, and it takes being here and putting forth effort to be involved.
Right. Yeah. If you're moving here, like just to retire and play golf, and I like to play golf, but I'm not very good at it. But like hopefully, you'd want to find like some of these other ways to, to spend some of your time, and I think you would like really just kind of find your place here.
Yeah. And it just feels more important and just more fulfilling. I think is the word I'm looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy your time here so much more. And Salida does have, and again, this is a reflection of our community, but there's several ways. If it's not the mentoring program, there's something else that you could get involved with that would fill your cup. Yeah,
there's a ton of nonprofits and everything. Well, thank you for being an amazing part of our community. I think you contribute in a very positive way. So
thank you. Yeah, thanks for highlighting some of the things that's going on here in Salida and Chaffee County. And thanks for the invite to get on.
Absolutely. Well, you're a fun guest. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica.